Now, following my prediction of who I think will qualify from each of the groups in the Rugby World Cup pool stages, I'm now going to give my opinion and my take on the knockout stages. Now, this is not an easy thing to do because I'm genuinely 50-50 and torn on a lot of the matches on who I think will win. But I'm just going to give what I think, and I'll be very interested to see what you have to say in the comments, who will win out of these semi-finals and quarter-finals. I do think that if you do the pools differently, then it might lead to a favourable route for a certain team, but I have to go based upon what I've selected, which means a lot of the big teams unfortunately are going to have to go out in the quarterfinals, which doesn't seem right considering how good they are and some of their recent form. Now, quarterfinal 1 will be Australia versus England, the winner of Pool C against the runner-up in Pool D. Now, my prediction for that game is I think Australia will come out triumphant. I believe they have more variety in attack, way more variety in attack, putting a couple tries past New Zealand recently. And as I say, as of recording this on the 24th of August, England haven't scored a try with a back for 5 matches since France and Six Nations. So yeah, I think the only way England can win that game is via incredible defence and kicking 3 points with the occasional maul try or something like that. Quarterfinal number 2 will be Ireland versus New Zealand, and this was the game that I did not want to predict because I think Ireland are easily good enough to go all the way and win the World Cup. I think they're definitely better than what a quarterfinal would represent. And New Zealand, I could say the exact same thing. I predict they will go further than the quarterfinals, but I have to choose between Ireland and New Zealand of who's going to go to the semis. Now, Ireland have beaten New Zealand twice. New Zealand have beaten Ireland once in their series last summer. I will just edge it towards New Zealand. Now, that is because they're a Rugby World Cup team, and I'm not sure if that counts for a lot, but I just have a gut feeling that if I have to put my last dollar, my last pound, I would have to back New Zealand. Now, Irish fans, I apologise. You have an incredible team. Your team is very diverse, has so many different attributes, and there's so many ways they can win test matches. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to have to edge it towards New Zealand. Quarterfinal number 3 will be between Argentina and Fiji. Now, this is what I mean. Either Ireland and New Zealand, I think, would have a relatively easy day out against Argentina and Fiji. So it's such a lopsided draw. Like, World Rugby, why did you do this to us? Why'd you do it to me? I've got to now annoy half of my comment section with telling them that their team get knocked out in the group stages. But anyway, that's how the cookie crumbles. Quarterfinals 3, Argentina, Fiji, the winner of Pool D and the runner-up in Pool C. I predict Argentina will get out of that game. Fiji have definitely the powers to upset that, but I do think Argentina will take the win. Quarterfinal number 4 is between France and South Africa. What a game, absolute blockbuster. Winner of Pool A against the runner-up in Pool B. South Africa are not a team that goes out in quarterfinals of World Cups, let's just say that. They have got too much history to be doing things like that, but I just think France at home, they must prevail. Like, I won't be so surprised if they get knocked out, because South Africa are an exceptional side with, as I mentioned, New Zealand, so much World Cup history. But you just, in my opinion, have to favour the home side, who had an unbeaten 2022. I just think France will come through that game, considering the Box have had a lot of injuries of key players, Akanyoam, Andre Pollard, some Luke de Jager, some really big names. So I favour France to come through that game. Now, this leads us on to the semi-finals between Australia and New Zealand in semi-final number 1. I believe New Zealand come through that one relatively comfortably to bag their place in the final. That's just because they've played Australia twice, beaten them twice, once comfortably, and then once the match was in the balance, but that was with a rather changed New Zealand team. I think it would be quite an upset based upon current form if Australia were to topple New Zealand. So I predict New Zealand go through and book their place in the final. And then the second semi-final is between Argentina and France. Once again, these semi-finals I feel are going to be much more comfortable for the favourites than the quarterfinals. Like Ireland, New Zealand, that deserves to be a semi-final. France, South Africa, that deserves to be semi-final, but they're just being played around early. So I think France will dominate Argentina in what is a potential banana skin game, but I do favour the French to prevail in that game. So that sets up a final between New Zealand and France and a third place playoff between Australia and Argentina. I think New Zealand versus France could go either way. Genuinely could go either way. I have no idea what's going to happen in that game, but I have previously said France beat New Zealand in the pool stages, then New Zealand beat France in the World Cup final. What a story that would be. I genuinely don't have any pre-scripted notes of who's going to win. I'm genuinely trying to decide on the spot. France have got every ability to do it. Some incredible goal kicking from long range might be the difference. New Zealand, I've now pretty much got the same level of flair and attacking ability of fast backs like Rico Ioane. I'm just sat here hyping up the game. Really, I'm not really predicting. I think France. I'm just leaning sort of 51% towards France, 49% to the All Blacks, just based upon if France go to a set piece game. I think that's their route to winning it. I don't think they can match New Zealand for sort of back skills, but now I'm also considering the fact that the French can fade in the last 20 minutes with fitness levels. That might sway it towards New Zealand. I'm just going to give it towards France because I feel like the home crowd, when the going gets tough in the late stages, when New Zealand are piling on the pressure, I think that will just carry them home. But this Rugby World Cup could go either way. I'm just going to say France are going to win the World Cup. Okay, I apologise for all you All Black Fern fans, but that's just my prediction. I would not be surprised if you win it. And I'm completely 50-50, but I would just edge it towards France. The runners-up match also could be an underrated game, could be an absolute firecracker between Australia and Argentina. That game could go either way, but I'd favour Australia in that game because it's a Rugby World Cup. I feel they could just pull something out of the bag. They would have had a lot more time with Eddie Jones at that point. Steve Hansen coming into the squad. I'd just edge that towards Australia. What result that'd be for Australia, by the way? Having had a 5-match losing streak and then going in to get third place at Rugby World Cup, I'm sure they'd take that. But reflecting on all of it, I'd say, look, all of the teams on the left-hand side of the board are going to be hard done by, and the ones on the right side of the board are getting a relatively easy ride to a Rugby World Cup semi-final and quarter-final. So, look, those are my predictions. I really want to hear what you have to say in the comments. I apologise if I say your team's getting knocked out, but unfortunately, when I'm making these videos, I have to make some brutal decisions and cutting out some really world-class teams which are steeped in Rugby World Cup history. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say in the comments.